Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Plastic Paradise movie. I found actually a full-length version of it on YouTube. I'm going to put the link down below if you'd like to check it out after this video. It was a super great documentary, very informative and also very shocking. It's pretty much talking about how we use so much plastic in our everyday lives and how that plastic is actually contributing to a major problem miles and miles away in the middle of the ocean, and we don't even know it. And this is just due to the things we buy and how we make certain products. You can make a change individually by the things you buy. It's hard to totally cut plastic out of our lives because obviously plastic's an element in so many items that we use in our everyday lives. There's some ways that you can reduce your plastic intake and how much plastic you use. This documentary is really just talking about how much plastic we Americans and as a world can produce, and how much plastic that we are producing are affecting our wildlife and are affecting the ocean. And specifically they're talking about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the documentary Plastic Paradise, and I'm also going to be giving you ways that you can help the problem and that you can reduce your amount of plastic that you use in your everyday life. So the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is actually on this tiny piece of land in the most remote place on Earth, and yet all of our plastic and all of the things that we use has landed on this island. It's said in the movie that 10,000 pounds of garbage wash up on this island per year. That's an alarming amount of plastic, and of course that is going to take a toll on the wildlife, and it's going to take a toll on that whole ecosystem. Some of the things that they found on this island were computer monitors. They've also found tires, they found lighters, bottle caps, a bunch of different things like that. One of the most shocking was a computer monitor. You wouldn't normally think that that would wash up on a beach, this gigantic computer monitor, but yet it's in the most remote place on Earth. So this garbage patch is anywhere between twice the size of Texas to the entire continental US. That is a large amount of plastic for the middle of the ocean for this island to handle. Twice the size of Texas is talking about the plastic in the actual oceans. It's not like it's, you know, photographable, because the debris is found beneath the surface and it's intertwined in the water beneath the surface. A lot of it is like is big fishing nets and big, you know, plastic items, but some of it as well is microbeads and small little plastics. You know, one thing that's really bad for our environment and that gets into the oceans is glitter. Tiny little plastic pieces of glitter is really harmful. And some of those little plastic beads are some of the most harmful things as well. It's not only the big items. So as they were walking through the sand in the documentary, they were walking through the sand and they were basically walking on plastic. The sand is not really sand, it's a bunch of tiny pieces of broken plastic. Plastic industry has gone out of the roof with production of plastic. And this is mostly due to our population increase. We are demanding more plastic products, so the suppliers are going to be making more plastic. Industries are not going to stop producing plastic unless we stop buying plastic products, unless we demand more eco-friendly products. So one quote from the documentary is that they said in the US alone, 115 billion pounds of plastic is going to be produced in just that year. And that's the year 2013 when this movie came out. And that was 5 years ago. Imagine, that's just even more. Our population has grown since then, and it's going to continue to grow exponentially. And this 115 billion pounds of plastic will mostly be used to make a single-use plastic bags. So I go to school in California, and they actually charge you to use a plastic bag. And so this really helps people remember to bring their reusable bags. So it really gives people an incentive and kind of raises awareness on not using plastic bags. Whereas I've grown up in Washington State, and I have been back since I have lived in California, and in our stores, we do not have the same plastic policy in Washington as they do in California. And I was super shocked coming back home, and I was like, man, there are so many plastic bags being used, and it's not like they are filling up these plastic bags to the brim. Some of the stores I've been in, they give 1 or 2 items per plastic bag. Really just think about it. Before you go into the store, be like, okay, what do I need? I need my purse, I need my wallet, and my reusable bag. Just try to make that a habit. Even if your state or wherever you live doesn't have those same plastic policies where you have to pay for plastic bags, choose to make that difference within yourself. Within your own community, and let people know about this issue. Get involved in your own state and maybe enforce these policies in your state and kind of just get this movement started. Some other states have already put these policies in place, so why not your state? Why not your community? So it's really a lot of the consumer's responsibility. It's up to us to make that change. When these plastic bags go into the environment, it's a cost to our future generations. It's a cost to society to clean it up. It's a cost to wildlife and biodiversity in our oceans. So another thing that the documentary said is fishing nets are a huge problem in our oceans. They used to be made out of silk or wool, and now they're made out of nylon, which is a cheap, really strong form of plastic. 640 tons of discarded fishing nets have been found in our oceans, and this is a quote from the UN from 2009. When these fishing nets are lost or discarded, it doesn't disappear. It actually litters the ocean floor, and it traps many sea animals, large and small, where they can't move, they can't feed, and they die from these fishing nets. Thousands of mammals and millions of seabirds and fish get entangled by this plastic and die every year. As it says in the documentary, that coral reefs are the second most diverse ecosystem in the world, and those are being greatly affected by our fishing nets. And corals have been in a major decline in the past 25 years. Actually, coral heads are broken off from being entangled from these fishing nets, and they break off and they die. And these fishing nets actually removed 123 tons in a matter of 4 months, and that's a large percentage in such a short amount of time. And like I said, some of the smaller plastic is very harmful as well. So actually, these small particles look like food in the water for these fish. So the fish consume these tiny particles of plastic, and then the bigger fish eat those fish, and it's this whole cycle, because then we eat the bigger fish that have eaten the smaller fish that have eaten the plastics, and the plastics have a lot of toxic chemicals in them, which pollutes the fish, which are polluting the fish that we eat. So it's this whole vicious cycle. We are eating what we put into the oceans. An alarming statistic that it said in the documentary was 1 2.5 inch long fish, which is not a big fish at all, had 83 pieces of plastic found in it. It's not their fault. It looks like food. It's our fault. We are damaging our sea life because of the decisions we make, and because of what we choose to produce and what we choose to buy. So nearly 2 million albatross nest on this island for part of the year, and that's 70% of the world's albatross. The albatross that live on this island and that go there to nest actually have a ton of plastic in their stomach. In one of the photos, it was showing that there was a bottle cap and a little thing of fishing net in their stomach. This is kind of the canary in the coal mine. Their stomachs are an exact replica of what's happening in our oceans. When we see all these dead albatross from the extensive amounts of plastic in their bellies, that should be a sign to us that there's a problem and that our oceans aren't healthy. Another thing that the documentary said is recycling is kind of a myth. There's only a small percentage of recyclable plastic. It's not like we recycle our plastic and it leaves. It's still here. And some of it gets made into something else, but most of it is single-use plastic. Plastic is made to last forever, and that's where we have a problem. And not only is plastic used to last forever, but it's also used as a single-use plastic. So it's made to last forever, but we only use it once. So even if you buy a one-time use plastic water bottle, and then you recycle it, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I recycled it, it's all better. But really, in actuality, plastic doesn't ever leave this earth. It's not biodegradable, it doesn't break down, and it's not compostable. All the plastic that we use is on this earth in some way or another. Two most common items we throw away are plastic bags and plastic bottles. 1 million plastic bags are used per minute on Earth. So in the documentary it says that if we tied the US annual consumption of plastic bags together, it would go around our Earth's equator 776 times. When you think of it like that, there's small wonder why our Earth is being clogged by all of this and suffocated by all of these plastic bags. National Geographic estimated that we use 83 million plastic bottles every 3 minutes. We just really need to ask ourselves, do we need these products? Do we need that plastic bag to be convenient to carry our groceries in? Do we need to buy that plastic water bottle, or can we buy a reusable water bottle that we use multiple times and can carry with us all the time? Just because these items may be convenient for you, they're not convenient for the ocean. So one alarming statistic that they said in the documentary was by 2050, our plastic production will have quadrupled, and this will lead to 2 trillion pounds of plastic per year. That's scary to think about. Our oceans provide so much for us. 60% of the oxygen we breathe comes from our oceans, and yet we are harming the very thing that is helping us survive. Our oceans can only take so much. The documentary used an analogy. They're like a rubber band. They're pretty resilient, but if we push it too far, the rubber band's gonna snap. We need to make a change in what we consume, in what we buy, and what we use. So I did want to show a few things that you can do to help the cause personally. Reusable water bottle. This is super important. Don't use single-use plastic water bottles. They're not good for the environment and you don't need them. Get yourself a reusable water bottle that you take everywhere. Some other things I also recommend is getting you a reusable plastic bag. Go to the grocery store, have these just in your car. Super convenient. You can buy these ones, they actually have them at the store. I think they just have them at TJ Maxx, they have them at Ross, they have them at other grocery stores, other places. They're nice and big, they can hold a lot of groceries. I fit a ton of groceries in these. I also have a cloth one that I bought as well. I mean, it has a little dream catcher, I love dream catchers. It also fits a lot of groceries in as well. And they're much bigger and roomier than your regular plastic bags. So I also wanted to show you this. So my mom, she actually bought these and they're super cool. I love them. So they're actually from the Earthwise company. They're reusable mesh produce sacks. So you know how you have like the plastic bags for produce, so if you're getting like a head of lettuce and you're getting some broccoli and then you put them in those tiny plastic bags. So instead of that, you can use these mesh bags there. So these are pretty great. The price is still on it. And you can probably find them at any grocery store. They're really just nice to have and to take with you. This is kind of what they look like. They're nice and roomy. They're pretty much the same size as the bags you get at the store. You can let your fruits and vegetables breathe. They're nice mesh, and then they have a cinch as well. They do have a website, It's www.earthwisebags.com. So I put the link down here for the website, so definitely take a look at that. And you can probably buy these online or at your local store. Sandwich baggies. Try to steer clear of sandwich baggies as well. These single-use bags that you put your sandwich in and throw away, or the snack bags that you get. Maybe try and put your sandwich in one of those tin or glass container. They work the same. They might be a little more spendier, but I think it's going for a good cause, and you can use it more than once. Instead of having to keep going to the store and buying these, you can just keep on using that every day. Another thing is avoid excess packaging. If you're gonna buy an item, buy the item that has less plastic packaging around it. I know some items are super tiny and they have this huge plastic packaging. That's ridiculous. Try not to support, companies that use a lot of plastic packaging. Just be really conscious about what you buy and just be an example for others. As the documentary said, we as consumers underestimate the power we have. About what you're using and maybe what small changes you can make personally, and then see if you can influence maybe a couple people a day to help this cause as well. Get the word out there. I do encourage you to watch this documentary. Again, it's called Plastic Paradise. Please do check out the link. I also put it there as well. And I put the link for this website too if you would like to buy these plastic sacks. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was very informative. I do hope that you also spread the word to others and just get the word out there about this cause. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.